Hello everyone, how are we today? I hope we're all having a good day. Welcome to Jen's World About Art. So, today I am doing a painting of, I think they're poppies. I'm not 100% sure, I think they're poppies. Got the photo reference off Unsplash and really liked the colours and the detail in these. So I thought I would have a go at painting them. So I'd started the drawing, but I'm going to continue on. There's actually a bud here. So I got to nearly 3/4 of the way through the drawing where I thought I'd start, because otherwise I can show you the process anyway as I go doing this. So I just rough in the shapes, get the shapes sort of basically where I want them, and then I can add a little bit of detail to help me when I'm adding the colour. And these have got quite vivid yellow lines into the centre, and they come up in sort of tonal value. This one, where's this one? Where did I see that one? So that one has got like that pattern in the middle, so I can draw the pattern into the middle. So that's the centre of the flower. And then, what have we got? Whoops, today's just checking that my volume's working. And then this one, there's one here, which I've drawn in a little bit, but I need to draw him in properly. So there's a petal going there, and they've got yellow underneath. So I'm just going to draw in that little jaggedy liney bit where the yellow bit sits. And these have got a beautiful glow to them, which is one of the reasons I decided to use gouache today, because these Senelia gouache have got the most magnificent glow in the pigment that I couldn't help but use them. They really do call out to be painted with these. So I'm just going to draw in. Hello Shane, how you going, doll? How are you today? Oh, there's a bud there. Did I see that bud there? I'll draw that little bud in. I did see that bud there. So I'll draw that little bud there. But yeah, these paints are definitely just made for this kind of a piece. That stem comes down there. So it's very similar to the daffodil one I did yesterday in composition. Bear, he sneezes at me when he wants to be picked up. It's like, Bear, you don't need to sneeze at me, mate. So I'll take all the, oh my goodness, I've got to give him a cuddle. Hang on, everyone. Oh, here's my dog. He needs to have a cuddle. The second I start streaming, he's like, no, it's all about me. Come and say hello. There we go. You okay? Yeah? You've had your cuddle, Bebe? Doing great. How are you? I'm great, mate. I'm good. Just chilling. Just was watching the news, getting all the updates, and just kicking back. Answering comments on my YouTube, and been a busy old morning, but good. Lots done. Got a little bit of housework done as well, which is even better. Getting ready for the weekend because it's Friday, and I do love Fridays. Fridays are awesome. Whoops, today, so I just need to get my reference up. Come on, reference, there you are. So that one, actually, that little petal there has got a yellow bit on it, and it comes around there like that. So I'm doing a bit more of a detailed sort of a drawing than I did yesterday. I'm pretty happy with that. I think I'm happy with that. Don't think I need to do anything else. Right, so first of all, what am I going to do? What's happening on your side of the planet? Lockdown. Lockdown and more lockdown. But apart from that, we're good. Just craziness that goes with COVID. But we're all healthy, so that's all that matters. All that matters. So I am going to start with an orange. Oh, the paint's chipped off my brush. That's no good. I didn't leave it in the paint, but it's chipped off the brush. So I'm going to start with orange. Even though these are red, I am going to start with the orange. And I'll build up to darker as I go, because this orange will show through a little bit. I'll leave little glimmers of it. Because the highlights are golden. But I don't actually need to, because these are not watercolour. I keep forgetting these are not watercolour, these are gouache. I can go dark over light. But I'm so used to working light to dark that it's a habit that's not easy to change. It's not a bad habit to have. It does make other paintings sort of easier. So I'm just going to pop in the lights anyway. And that's a bright yellow down there. Oh, actually no, it's an orangey. I can fill that in. I can fill that in there. Because I've been doing lots and lots of artwork to fill my time, because surprise, surprise. That's what you do when you can't leave the house. It's a perfect excuse for a recluse like me to do more and more art. So I'm not complaining, because I'm getting to paint full time. So these have got, that one's not so much got the orangey bit, but I'm going to pop a little bit there. This one has a bit of a highlight sort of there. That one, I can see the back of the bud sort of there. I'm just popping the lightest bits in first. That's really annoying that my brush is chipped. Very annoying. I'll pop that in there. And then come around here. Oops. All right. I'll pop a little bit of a light colour on that one. A little bit of that light colour on that. And on that. Okay. Now I'm going to go in with a red. So what red am I going to use? I'm going to get that bit of paper out of there. Got a bit of paper on my doodah. Get that out of there. There we go. And I'm going to go straight in with a bit of, what am I going to go in with? Bit of ruby, I reckon. Bit of ruby red. Let's do that. Go in with a bit of ruby, just lightly to begin with. And I can always change it and add more detail. So I'm just blocking in, pretty much blocking in. And I've got that quite diluted. Quite diluted. Because you can treat gouache like watercolour if you want. You can have it quite thin and do layers. You just got to be careful, because you can actually lift your underlayers, which you don't necessarily want to do. But be careful, and it dries properly, and you don't scrub too hard. You can quite comfortably add quite a few layers, which is what I intend to do. Come around here and around that side. Leave that little bit there. Go on to the next one. Oh, there's a bud there. I can put that bud in. Put that bud in to get the first layer of him down. So what are you up to for the weekend, Shane? What have you got happening? I'm just doing art. And maybe some games. That's about it. Because I can't do anything else. So yeah, that's all I'm doing. Art and games. Which is fine by me. Oops, I've got a bit of yellow on my palm. That's what you get for resting your paint in your hand in your painting. Come around there. I can leave little gaps so I can still see my drawing a little bit. Like that. Sort of a bulby bit there. Alright, grab some more ruby red. A little bit more ruby red. Have a sip of my coffee. Remind it. Job interview tomorrow. Ooh! Going for a new job, mate. That's exciting. Or is it within the same building, different job, or same restaurant, different job, or whole new start, mate? That's exciting. That's very exciting. So I do have to go darker down into the middle. That. Come up here. Whole new start. Wow, go you. Oh, you know what? Change is fun. Change is exciting and fun and inspiring. So that's good, mate. I'm happy. Happy for you, duh. Happy for you. That comes around there. So nice and close to home, or? Come around here. Block that in. I'll leave a little gap so I can tell the difference, because all these flowers sort of blend into one. It's really quite hard to make them stand out independently of each other. So, but that'll happen later when I add the shadows with a bit of luck. All going to plan. In theory, that'll come along after when I've got more shadows and lights and darks in. Because I had fun. I had so much fun with the daffodils yesterday. I did daffodils on my Twitch stream. And they were so chill, so relaxing to do. I thought, oh, I want to do something similar. So that's why I decided on this. Because it's a sort of a similar composition to the daffodils that I did. And I get my references off Unsplash, Pixabay, Pexels, all of those free websites. When I can go out again, I'm actually going to buy myself a few bunches of flowers to work from. So that'll be good. Maybe get some photos locally of some, because it's coming into, we have around here, we have open gardens, because around here is one of the most beautiful parts of Victoria. It's like a tourist destination. So I'll go up the hill, up the mountain, and all the farms have open gardens, and they have like incredible, I don't know, botanical garden type gardens. They're just friggin' gorgeous. So I'm going to go and get a bucket load of photos. The second I'm allowed to, I'll be going up the mountains and taking photos. I was offered a different job today as well. Wow, very good. That's exciting. That's incredibly exciting, duh. So what industry? The same industry? So still in the food industry? Your boss will miss you, but you got to do what's best for you, mate, ultimately. You've got to do what's best for you and your health and your life and quality of life. Life is too short not to. So come around here, pop that in. How's Mum going? How's June? Now there's actually a petal going off that way, that one. Pop. I've got to try and get to the post office today because I've got paint coming in the mail. Oh, I'm so excited. I've got some more watercolours coming. The one today, assisted living care, going to different people's houses and making sure they're okay. Oh, that is right up your alley. That's lovely. That is lovely. I come down and around here. So I've got them blocked in now. They're sort of pretty much blocked in where I want them. Mum's fine. Thanks. Good. Glad to hear. All right. Now I'm going to go a light green. Where's my light green? Oh, what did I use yesterday? I can't remember. I think I'm going to go in with a bit of Helios and a bit of yellow to start with. Bit of Helios, bit of yellow, because they've got quite vibrant stems. But the first layer can be really quite bright. Ooh, that's maybe a bit too bright. Maybe not quite that bright. Maybe a bit more yellow into the picture. Like that. Then come down and around. Oops, I forgot that bud. I'm a noggin. A nong nong. Alright. down here. I'll just continue on. I haven't really drawn, I've drawn the stems in partially, but not completely. So they sort of do go off in random directions and crisscross and things, so you can't see all of them. You can't see, like, there's a ton of stems and there doesn't seem anywhere near enough flowers for stems, but that's okay. We're just filling the vase with stems because that's what you do. It's how the mop flops. And we've got a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous sunny day here today. So I might even try and go up the mountains, because I'm allowed to go up the mountains behind my house. You're just not allowed to visit people. So the mountains are behind my house. So I might try and get up in the mountains and get some photos today as well. Get some wildlife photos. So that could be fun, because it's kangaroo and rabbit babies everywhere. And baby sheeps. I love lambs. Lambs are gorgeous. So they're everywhere at the moment. It's coming into spring here, which is awesome. And it's a gorgeous, sunny, stunning day. I don't think this winter, I think I've worn a jumper 2 days. I like it cooler. It's been much cooler, but not cold. So it's been good. I think I've worn short sleeves for the whole of winter pretty much. So I'm going to come down, bring that stalk down the back. It doesn't matter if they crisscross over. There's a stem up there. Bring this one down. Take it in and across like that. Then where does that one go? That one sort of bends, so I'm going to go like that. Take that one into there and then down and around like that. Okay, well that's pretty much the vase blocked in. Oh, shivers, I forgot the flowers down on the bottom. Whoops. Okay, so we're going to go back in and we're going to pop these little petals that are dropped onto the table. We'll just block them in as well, because we can. Righto. Block this one in. Like that. Okay, I'll leave that sit for a minute. Now let's have a look. I haven't done that bud either. I forgot all my buds. I've gone rogue. Okay, I've left all my poor little buds. They're going to not forgive me. All right. So, and you can see it dries a couple of layers pale, more pale than when you start. So it's just like a bud in there. So, and then in the middle of them is a very deep dark burgundy. So I'm going to add Prussian blue to my red. I'm going to add Prussian blue, and I'm going to go in here. I'm going to add my Prussian blue into the centers of these flowers, anywhere I can see it. Like in here, and I'll go around the trim of that with the vibrant yellow. Come into there. That's perfect. That's a lovely purple. So that's Prussian blue and ruby red. There you go. And mixing with gouache is a bit different too for me. I'm not used to it. You get used to the different mixes in the different brands of paints. And even though I've got Sennelier, I use Sennelier watercolours majority of the time. It is slightly different mixes. Like the paints react a little bit differently. Oh, I quite like that. Okay, can't see any other purpley bits. Oh, I can a little bit there. Just up there. All right. So now I'm going to go into a richer red. So I'm going to have a look at the Helios. Let's look at the Helios red. That looks beautiful. Let's have a look. And I'm going to bring that. Maybe not. It's a bit. Might be alright. Because it's going over the top, it's changed its I'm just going to add start to strengthen the different, oh, actually, you know what I need? Maybe that orangey red as well. I'm going to mix up my colours. So this is Helios red onto this flower, and I'm going to start to define petals. So I've drawn them in and sort of blocked. I've got to make it a thinner wash over this yellowy area, so you still get the yellowy glow through, like that. You can still see a little bit of that yellow glow, which is what I want in there. Got an itchy eyeball, there we go. Scratch me itchy eyeball, then come around here, because you can make these, you know, they're opaque paints, but if you do them thinly, you can make them transparent. You can, you don't have to, if you go full thick like creamy, you can make them look completely solid colour. But yeah, it's fun to sometimes try different techniques. So I'm making them a little bit opaque, a little bit translucent, sorry, so you can still see the underneath strength of colour, the underneath yellow. And I'm just re-blocking in. Go over that very slightly, gently. Helios. And then come onto the edge of that petal there. And I'll darken that up again, even stronger. Coffee! Thank you, Shane! Thank you, Shane. Oh my goodness. I get so buried in what I'm doing that I forget me coffee. You know me too well, mate. Thank you. What would I do without you? I'd have cold coffee. That's what I'd do. Okay, so now I'm going to go in even stronger. I'm going to try a bit of this sort of purpley colour, which is Crimson Lake. No? Tyrian Pink. It's Tyrian Pink. Ooh. Whoops, and I've got way too much on my brush. I'm not sure. I'll purple it up in a minute. We'll see. We'll see how we go. And the thing is, because you can go over these, you can go over with any colour on these. You can go from dark to light. You can do whatever you want, really. So if you change your mind and think, oh, I don't really like that colour, well, you can just change it. Just like yesterday morning, just like every morning of my life, mate. Every morning. Actually, I'm going to go Pyrrole. Pyrrole red's a nice strong red. I'm going to take that around these outer edges because that's darker up here. They're darker where the petals join. And then there. Then there's a bit of a pattern around there. Come down here. I always get to it, like, I'm only just started this picture, but you get scared. Like, you start doing a painting and you're like, oh, I'm starting to get scared. This is not going to work already. But it does. It always comes together. Nearly always comes together. Just got to keep persevering. That's what you got to do. So I'm going to go back into my yellowy green. And now I've got to add that into the stalky bit, where it comes up onto the back of the petal, onto the back of the flower. It's got a little bit of a veiny pattern up onto the actual where the bulb, where it would have been a closed bulb. So pop that on there. I'm going to add a little bit of white up to here. There's a reflection there. So add that little reflection in there. Little reflection in around there. Onto there. And I'll go over that in a minute, but that'll do for the second. That'll do that for now. I'm going to go, I should have been working left to right. Anyway, famous last words, as you do. I'm going to go back in with bit of this, what is it? Tyrian red, or Tyrian pink. Actually, it is. I'm going to pop that in here and sort of follow the shape of the petals. I quite like it, I think. There's just lots of different tones of red in this, and pinks, which I thought was fun because I'd worked on a lot of yellows yesterday. Yesterday's was all yellows and vibrant and had a very different vibe to it. This is sort of more old school, traditional feeling, I think. I like that's what I'm aiming for. I want it to be more old school, traditional feeling. That's the plan, anywho. That petal comes down and around like that. I'll go over that so you can see it through still, but it's not quite as vibrant. Alright, then this is darker, and then I'll dilute it down and take it down the back of that one. You can still see that gold through there, but I'll just do a diluted wash. There we go. Now let's have another look. I'm going to go into my ruby red. Go over the top of that again into the edges of these petals. So I'm just looking for shadows and lights and anywhere that I can see dark lights. And I'm just doing or stronger tones of red. And when it comes to colour mixing and stuff, I'm predominantly self-taught. So I haven't, I've just practiced and practiced and figured out what works for me. I have done classes on like wildlife art and portraiture and things like that, but it's more so it's more like structure, and composition, more than I didn't really learn colour theory and things like that. So that's all self-taught and reading books and watching videos and practicing and just trying different things. So I always recommend, I'm a big advocate for practice, 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 practice. You'll learn more practicing and doing it than any other way. Trial and error. All right. And I've never had a floral class in my life. So this is just completely practice and doing it and just being brave and going for it. And I'd always convinced myself that I couldn't do flowers. And I'm like, you know what? Why not? Why can't I do flowers? Then I just started doing them. And it's become really good fun because they're just shapes. Because I could do animals without a problem, but I'd convinced myself that I couldn't paint flowers. And then I thought, you know what? You need to do it. You just need to do it. Hello, Candid. How you going, doll? How are you today? How are you? How are you? So I'm going to go into the stronger red. So we're getting all the reds happening on there, which is good. Go back into my pretty purple. So how's your day been, darling? What have you been working on? Doing great. And you? I'm great, thanks, darling. I just woke up. It's a gorgeous day outside. And I was hanging out and just checking out my comments and answering comments and following up on Instagram and all of the things, and had a couple of cups of coffee, and here I is. And it's Friday, so I'm happier, even happier, because I love Friday. I love weekends. Weekends are awesome. What's going on here? What have I done there? Oh, there's another petal coming down and around there. So I'm just going to sort of block this in. And I picked this picture because it's tons and tons and tons of red tones. And I thought it would be an interesting one to try. And I'm using gouache. I love gouache. I did, after I streamed here yesterday, I went and I streamed on YouTube. Twitch, sorry. And also, and I did a painting of daffodils, and I was really, really happy with how it turned out. And I'm like, oh, I want to do another one today. But not daffodils, obviously, but the same kind of a composition. So here we are. Here we are doing it's sort of more of it, like I was just saying, more of an old school style, darker portrait sort of thing, darker floral. Because I love, you know, I love the old fashioned, I love the old fashioned florals and old fashioned, like 16th century paintings. And the detail that they get, it's just divine. So I thought, I mean, I can't compare this to that, but I'm just going, I just like that feel, so I'm going with that feel. With the darker, stronger flowers. Except, I've sort of, even though I can go light to dark, so it doesn't matter, I'm just going to keep blocking in. I need to not worry and keep blocking in. What's going on here? What have I done there? That's another bud. Okay. So I'll pop another little bud in there. And it's just an illusion. It doesn't, it's not exact. I'm going to go a little bit, actually I can add lighter over the top. I keep forgetting that I can add lighter over the top. It's not watercolor. Doesn't matter if I go too dark too soon. I can add light over the top. So I'm just going to start building up this flower. So I'm working left to right. I started with that flower. Shouldn't have started with that flower. I should have started left. So I've gone back to the correct way and I'm doing left to right. So that way I don't end up with my hand in wet gouache, because I do that. You nearly always end up covered in paint because I have no control over where my hands go. Alright, so I'm going to go in here, darken that bit up. Whoops. How does that one go? These have got beautiful light on them, so I'm excited to add the highlights sort of towards the end as well. The highlights in this has attracted me as well, because I thought, I don't know how on earth I'm going to paint it, but I really liked the effect of it. They're darker into the middle. Really dark down into there, but that's not dark, that's just a mid-tone. But I'm just sort of still blocking it in, trying to get the shape, because they sort of look flat. Until you get the shadows and the lights, they look flat. And gouache is quite matte, so it looks even flatter until you get right into it. It dries a matte sort of effect. So the layers is what's, the lights and darks and shadows is what's going to make it look less sort of flat. And these are just a mass of different petals going in different directions here. Okay, so that's a highlight that I'm going to now go over with a diluted. I want to be able to see that through, there we go, like that. Still see that through the red, but have it more red. Oops, I've got too much water in that. That was silly. Oops, I can just pick that up with my cloth. How I would with the watercolour, just get that excess water. You don't want to use so much water with this. You can, but you don't. It's nicer if you have it creamier. How does that go? That goes around there, and then that petal comes around there. So these, they're like poppies. I'm not 100%. I think they're poppies. They're just a massive colour and going in all directions. Bring these petals coming out this way. So the edge of the petals are darker. That one's stronger coming out that way. And you just got to be patient and keep working the layers. Keep working at it, keep adding layers, keep adjusting. And it's an illusion, like it's going to give the illusion of a big bunch of flowers. I was wondering if they were poppies. Yeah, I think they are. I'll show you the reference photo. That's the reference photo. I think they're poppies. But I've got a petal coming. I've moved that flower. I've put that flower in a slightly different spot, which has thrown me a little bit. Come around here. And I'm going to create a background for this, but I'm going to do it because there is a lovely shadow sort of going off to the right. And I love the thing, these are all about shadows. The daffodils I did yesterday afternoon had the most magnificent shadows on them. And I was really excited to get into those. Because I did those after my YouTube stream. I streamed on Twitch and did daffodils. And I'll show you my daffodils that I did. And they turned out fantastic. Look at them. And it was the shadows that I loved. So that's what I got. I wanted to do this from that. So that was the daffodils I did yesterday. And I just loved all the reflections and the shadows. So I thought that's what I'm going to try and do today with these ones. Oh, have another sip of my coffee. But it's coming along. We're getting there. We're getting there. Slowly, slowly. It's starting to look more and more like I want it to look. So I've got to come into here. And the glass jar I'll do like I treated the other picture. Pale blue, very thin glaze of pale blue and white to get the depth of colour that I want, or the paleness of colour that I want rather. That petal's darker. I can't see the bottom of that one. The photo actually doesn't show the bottom. I've made the table bigger than it actually is in the picture, I think. No. Yeah, I have. Those daffodils are so pretty. Thank you. They were good fun. I really, really enjoyed them. I'm spewing I didn't get a video of it because it would have made a great tutorial, but I just, yeah, because on Twitch I don't film it. I just stream it. Where here I film as well. So I can keep it as I also keep it for myself to look back on when I'm having not confident days. I can go, okay, I did that. And I can watch how I did things again, just in case I forget, because sometimes I have Jenny moments and I forget stuff. And I love keeping my videos for posterity, if anything else, because I do go back and watch occasionally and go, shivers, I did that. keeps me positive. I'm on the right track. Okay, I've got to go back into this brighter pink down here, like that, and then they're going to have shadows under them, which I will do. But for the second, I'm going to let all that. Actually, no, I'm not. I've got to do the stem. So we're going to go a darker green. So I'm going to go a little bit of olive, but I'm going to add a little bit of yellow, just so it's not quite so dark. There we go. A little bit of olive, a little bit of yellow, and you've got to remember that gouache dries a couple of tones lighter. It does dry a couple of tones lighter than when you put it on the paper. Like, I highly recommend, if you're starting with gouache, do a swatch sheet, because I've got my colour chart here, which it's very old and very rough looking, but it just shows you how much the colours shift when they dry, and gouache is renowned for drying a couple of tones lighter, lighter, sorry. So whatever you put down is going to go paler. And I think that's pretty much every brand. So you can go a little bit stronger with your colour to get and do a few more layers. But like I said before too, with the layers, you've got to be a bit lighter with your hands. As you get thicker layers, more layers, you've got to be a bit more gentle, because you can lift and blend the underneath ones if you're a bit too heavy-handed. So it's a little bit more, I think gouache is a little bit more delicate, sort of. You've got to be a bit more delicate with it. Don't know whether delicate's a good word, but yeah. Have you used Da Vinci gouache? No, I haven't. I've only used Sennelier and Schminke. And I used a Dale Rowney gouache early days. Didn't like it at all. It was the first set I got given. But it wasn't the quality I needed. Because you do gouaches, get as good as you can afford. Like watercolour, you get as best as you can afford, because the quality makes a world of difference. I used one cheap brand, and I swore after that I would never use another cheap brand again. But it got me started. I got trying it. But I haven't tried Da Vinci. I haven't tried any Da Vinci paints, to be honest. At all. I don't own any. I've never had any. Not because I don't like them, but because I haven't seen them. I like available, readily available here. So, you know, if I saw them, I'd probably try them, because I like trying things. All right, I quite like that. I'm going to leave that for a second, and I'm going to go onto the vase. So it dries incredibly quick. I've just got to clean my palette. I've got a bazillion reds and pinks going on. I'm just going to clean up, because I've got to put a bit of white on there. So I need to get me white happening. Okay, clean my brush. So have you got Da Vinci gouache, or? Yeah, this is a mixture of I've got a half and half, Senneliers and Schminkes. And I love both equally. Love both equally. So I'm going to make the vase, like I did yesterday, very pale blue. So I'm going to go white with a tiny little bit of cobalt blue. And I'm going to pop that onto here, over the top. So this is going to be the glass vase. I'll go over the actual but yeah, I haven't actually seen Da Vinci anywhere in a shop here, because different countries have different availabilities. So this is where you can see. I want to be able to see through, make those stems look like they're on the inside. So I'm just going with a very thin glaze. Yeah, even though they're made in the US, none of the art stores near me have them. Oh, okay. There you go. So I'm just going to take that. So this is pale blue, it's cobalt blue and white. And I've just gone over the top of all of those stems. You can see it's blended a little bit there. I've got to redefine those stems. It's not the end of the world, but that's what I mean. See, I've lifted it in there. So I've got to redo those stems a little bit, because I've lost them just here. Like that, and then I'll let them dry a bit more and go back and do that again. I'm going to go back into my blue and white mixture, so a bit of cobalt blue, bit of white, and all my palettes I lay out the same order, exactly the same order, so I instinctively go to the right spot on my palette to get my paints. I always start top left yellow, work through to my oranges and reds, as I go on to the next layer, it's all blues and greens and then browns. And then if I have any extra colours that I pop in, they all go down the bottom right, because I've got nowhere else to stick them. Because I get excited and I prepare my palettes and then was like, oh, I want to buy more colours. Alright, so that's pretty cool. I've got to do another bit of a darker shadow down this side. What on earth did I do then? I've got a bit of yellow in there. So I come down here with this slightly darker blue. Take that down and around like that. This vase actually has a pattern in it, but I'm not going to do the pattern. I'm using my artistic choice to not do a pattern into there. I've got to do stronger blue. Oops, get a bit more blue on the brush. Around here. Do the bottom of the vase. Like that. And then leave a little bit of a darker line here. Oops, very carefully. Tiny little bit of a stronger line there, because you can see a line around the edges just a little bit, like that. Alright, now there's water in there, so I'm going to do that with a stronger bit of white. Oh, I can't do that yet actually. I've got to very gently, very carefully dilute my bluey white. Very carefully, without scrubbing, just dull those down a fraction, like that. Alright, that worked. Woohoo! Okay. And then there's a very strong white shadow, or white reflection there in the shape of the glass. So pop that very bright white reflection on there. It comes down a bit. And up to here. I might do what I did yesterday and give it a light wash background. A bit of reflection on there. And then on the bottom there is also reflection up off the table that it's sitting on. So I grab that, grab the white, and follow the shape of the vase, and it helps to give it that three-dimensional. You can see it's a little bit like I didn't have enough moisture on my brush there. It went a little bit chalky looking. There you go. You want a bit of enough water to make it creamy. There we go. Alright, now the table I'm going to do in a pale blue. So I'm going to go me white, add a touch of blue, so it's almost the same colour as the glass. Like that. And I'm going to take that right around the bottom edge. And back into here. Oops, I'll fix that bit up in a minute. Cut around these petals because they're going to have shadows under them. So it's a very diluted wash. Very diluted. Oops, come around the edge of my petal. Like that. Around the edge of that petal. And it's a very soft, diluted. So just blue, tiny touch of blue into white. Okay, now, so the light's reflecting this way mainly. So the shadows are going to go back off to the left. So I'm going to make up a purple. Actually, I'm going to go a bit of blue. Nice cool blue. I'm going to add a little bit of red. Make me cool shadow. I'm going to check it on my bit of paper next to me. That's about right. And then I'm going to add that shadow going back off in this direction. Cut around that petal on that flower. Come around that yellow bit. I'll just take that line back like that, around there like that. It just helps to give it form. And I'll do a paler shadow going off into the background. So I'm literally going to wet my brush and just drag that shadowy colour down a bit. And I'll pop that also into the bottom of the vase, just very diluted. Same colour. So that's that lavendery colour, which I used Tyrian pink and cobalt blue to make that shadow colour. A nice little cool lavender colour. You can see that's bloomed like watercolour there a little bit, so I'm just going to spread that out, blend it out a little bit more. I went a bit too much water in there. All right, I'm gonna strengthen up the shadow in there. I can go over this bit again with white in a minute, and then there is actually a shadow up against the wall behind it. I'm trying to decide. I might just strengthen this shadow here a little bit, so I'm just going to go back in with the same colour, Tyrian red, bit of blue, just slightly darker, just directly behind, add a couple of different shadow tones. And I tend to always use blues and purples for my shadow tones. And I'll just, because you can see through the glass, I've got to make that a bit paler though, because it is diffused in the glass. Like that, a bit softer. Come down into the bottom of the vase where the stalks all sit. And I'll go over this again in a minute with some white when it's dried. In a minute. Oops, I've got to get some more pigment on my brush. Doesn't want to do it. There we go. Okay. Now. What am I going to do here? I'm going to strengthen up that line just ever so slightly with that shadow colour just along that wall there. Oops. Or not wall, the edge. Like that. Just dilute that edge. I just wanted to strengthen that line a little bit. Am I going to do a background? I'm going to do a very pale blue background, I think. Where's my colour wheel? I need to see what, because I can't remember off by heart. There it is. Of course, it's under my reference photo. So a good, yeah. See, blues and greens are a good complementary colour to go behind these. So I'm going to go. I'll go a pale blue again. So I'm just going to clean the palette a little bit, get myself a nice clean tray. I'm using a porcelain palette. It's really easy to clean. So I'm going to go a bit of blue. So just cobalt blue and a ton of white. The same colour, pretty much the same colour as the vase. Mix up a ton of it. Add quite a lot of water, almost watercolour-y, like amount of water. And I'm going to work around just to give them a bit of a backdrop. I can spread that out a bit, and I don't mind if it's a little bit patchy looking. Like, I quite like the softness. I won't quite, yeah, I can touch that, that's fine. Okay, so I'm just going to drag that out and around, re-wet my brush a little bit and just move it around so it's thinner in spots and thicker in spots and all of that fun stuff. So yeah, just want the nice pale blue background, just so it's got a background. And I can do a shadowy colour. I can do shadows on the background behind it a little bit as well, which will be fun. Okay, so you can see it's very, very pale. It's almost not noticeable background. Blend that right out. Bring it up between the flowers, up there. But it just helps, tiniest little bit, just to give some definition. Come up in between these guys. And I do have a very strange habit of doing, supposed to do your backgrounds first. I nearly always do my backgrounds last. And I don't know why. I just, probably because I just do. No reason. But technically you're supposed to do your backgrounds first and then work your way forward. I do it in watercolour landscapes, not that I do very many of them. That's probably the only place that I do start with the background first. But my backgrounds are usually quite muted. I don't do strong, vibrant, visually detailed backgrounds. They're usually muted washes. That's probably why I get away with it. Because technically, you're not supposed to do that. But even when I do my animals, I usually just do a solid background. At most I'll do a bit of grass. I think I did one African scene where I did a herd of zebra being chased, or with a lion stalking a herd of zebra, and that I did a savanna background, like a African browns and greys and mountains off in the distance, and the odd tree, the odd what are their trees? Monkey puzzle tree. Okay, I've got to mix up some more blue and white. But yeah, landscapes are very rare for me. I would love to do them, but I don't do them because I'm not confident with them. So that's another thing. I wasn't confident with flowers. The more you do it, the better you get. So that'll be next. Be working on landscapes because I'm not great at them. So we need to practice them, peeps. You got to work on what you're not great at. I reward myself with stuff that I'm really good at. That's my reward to myself. And then I'm like, okay, now work time. Let's get into the stuff we don't know how to do. But you get better and better. The more you do, the better you get. And you can barely even see that blue. Like, it's barely even tinting the paper. Barely even tinting the paper. But I like that. It'll show up when I take the tape off the edges. It'll show. Oops, I can darken up this side a little bit to create a little bit more, which is what I do with watercolour. I'll darken a side and just drag it out that way and create interest that way. Except I've got to be careful because the shadow goes to the left hand side, so I'll have to darken up that side. So I'll make that like a couple of tones darker. So go me blue, go me white, and then I'm just going to darken up this area going off into the background, and I'll blend it so it's not just a flat sort of a background. Come right up here, up to the stems, around the edge of the vase. Just makes the background a little bit more interesting. And I've been doing digital art as well, and you can get that bokeh effect, and that is so awesome. Like, it's made me want to do more interesting, even if they're just wash backgrounds, more interesting wash backgrounds, not just one wash colour. Have a few different colours, or different tones of the same colour, different values of the same colour. So I've gone like 2 tones darker here, just to add interest onto one side of the picture. I won't go all the way around, and I'll just sort of blend it and go even darker. Oops, get a bit more blue, a bit more white. Don't even know what time it is, got to keep an eye on the clock. It's only 9:30 in the morning, early. Go a little bit darker there. Let that dry. because I've got that quite wet. And I'm using Archer's hot press watercolor paper, which is basically smooth watercolor paper, 300 gram. So it holds quite a lot of water. It's designed to hold a ton of water, so it doesn't warp and carry on. I haven't stretched. I've just got it taped. I haven't done the stretching and anything, because you can, but I haven't stretched it, pre-stretched it. I just tape the edges, and it does all the work for me. So I'm just going to blend that now. Just take that a little bit more this way, like that, because I don't want the background all just one flat colour. So that works. That creates like shadow off to that side. I might even darken up a little tiny bit more. So go blue and white. Still the same colours, blue and white, cobalt blue and white. Come down and around here. Just darken up right down here. Well, it's not really darker, it's pastel-y colour, but just strengthen the tones down right down the bottom there. Like that. And you can see that sort of reflecting off on the back of there. Like that. Alright. Okay. And I've got to do that shadow. I'm going to go a bit more purpley underneath, because this petal would have a dark shadow under it. Like that. There we go. And I'm just going to darken up. Strengthen, I shouldn't say darken, I always say darken, but I mean strengthen. Strengthen the shadow under that petal, blue and red. Make a purple, just directly under it, like that. That just helps that tiny little bit, and directly under the vase, like where it contacts on the table. Just make that dark, like that. Alright, I'm happy with that. So far so good. Now I've done all the background. I can go back onto, I'm going to get some clean water because my water has turned to mud. So I've got several big doodahs of water, so I get a fresh one. Start again. I always have like 4 big jugs of water next to me. Righto, back onto me petals, peeps. Back onto me petals. So I am going to use, I'm going to go in, oh, I've got to clean my palette a little bit. I'm going to go in with some magenta, love magenta, and just go around the edges a little bit, just to strengthen, or to add detail. Just a little bit, little hints of stronger colour. I probably need to go a little bit more of a deep, oh, you know what I haven't done? I haven't done the yellow bits. They've got yellow bits. Oops. So I better add my yellow bits. I'll do that in a minute. While I'm working with this colour, I'll keep working with this colour. I've got to come up and around this bud here, because that's a petal there. There's a bit of a bud. Goes off back around there. So, you know, I sort of, if the more layers I'm going to do, the heavier it's going to look, and I don't really need that, do I? I don't really want that to happen. I'm going to go a stronger purple, so I might go a bit of violet. I've got a nice violet here. Let's have a look. My little test sheet there. Add a bit of violet into the petals in the darker areas and the deeper areas. to help to give it a little bit of three-dimensionalness. Kind of around there like that. Bit around that bit, there's a darker bit. Alright, on the bottom side of this, like that. Alright, now around there. I'm just looking anywhere I can see. That's very watery. Why is that so watery? I'm going to grab a thinner brush as well. Go into my finer brush. Then I can pop like, actually, you know what I need to do? I need to make an even darker purple. I'm going to go a bit of blue, bit of purple, bit of blue, bit of red. Where's my magenta? Where'd my magenta go? I did see it there. There it is. Top right. Okay, I've made a really deep dark purple now for the line details. I'm going to just follow around in the texture of the petals. Oh, hear that bird. He's a beauty. It's a lyrebird, I think. Got some beautiful animals coming out at the moment because we're coming into spring. Alright. So I'm just going to add the lines going in different directions because the flowers sort of bend away and towards you and in all different directions. That like that. Now this bulb down here, it's almost like a rose bulb, but it's not. It's a poppy bulb. Like that. I don't know whether you can hear that bird, but it's absolutely glorious. Alright, come down and around here. Add some texture and interest onto these leaves, petals. And really darken up the lines and the veins. That'll help me. Like that. Alright, just sit back and have a look. I'm going to go up here and add some stronger veiny bits onto that one. Don't want them solidly everywhere because it'll end up looking flat. I've got it, what have I done here? This one, see these are all just all in amongst each other. I've got to go a bit more of that, clean me brush, a bit more of this colour onto that one. There was a bit too much orange going on. And then I can actually add some highlights back in. I've got to get me green. Get me green. Get me yellow. Whoops. Because I haven't done the veiny bits on these ones. Because that goes like that and you get little veins that travel up onto the bottoms of the flowers. Alright, and then darker, even darker green. What have I done there? How did I've touched it? I must have rested my hand right there because I've got a scudge, a thing going on. I've got a thing on me doodah. Alright, so I'm going to add some stronger lines, or just a pure dark green onto the very, very bottom bits. Just so that you've got all different tones. Go down the back of that stem. Just to create that little bit of contrast. The bottom of that bud bit. Then the back of that stem. like that. We're getting there. We're getting there, peeps. Just doing the shadow sides of these stalks. And it's not exactly like the photo, because, you know, if you want a photo, take a photo. So it is different, but that's, you know, you've got to make things your own. Don't just do straight copies. You've got to add your personality to stuff. If you can use a little bit of imagination, I say go for it. Like, I always work from a reference, but I always add something of me. Like, it's, you know, like, yeah, you just got to make it your own a little bit. So now I've got to add my bright yellows. My yellows are all muddy because I've messed them up in my palette because I'm a messy painter. Naughty me, messy me. I've got to add, whoops, try and get some pure yellow. I have to clean my palette and pop some fresh yellows on there. Got to get my brights back. I don't think I'm gonna, but this has got lovely bright yellow because down the inside there. My dog's trying to jump onto my lap. Hey, Bear Bear. My dog's called Bear. And he's trying to jump onto my lap. Hey, Bear Bear. Stinky breath. Hey, stinky breath. I'm just going to strengthen up. Oh my goodness. Okay, come and say hello again. This is Bear Bear. My Jack Russell. Who is every so often he's just got to say, hey, you love me. You love me and you're still here. And you love me. Yes, I know, Bear Bear. You're very cute. And you stink. You need a bath. So I'll have to be giving you a bath. Okay, you've had a cuddle. You can hop down now. All right. So, how am I going to do this? So, I've got to do... I've got to clean my palette a little bit because I don't want to get all my colours all mixed together. Oh, just clean one of my trays. Because I've got to get back to the vase a little bit. I've got to try and tidy up this. So if I'm very, very, very careful, I'm going to clean my brush thoroughly so there's no pigment on it whatsoever. Clean it absolutely thoroughly and dry it off. And then I'm going to just damp it a little bit, tiny little bit, and try and, because gouache is re-wettable, if you're careful, you can move it again while it's still... Oh, there's a little bit of green in that. Okay, I'm gonna forget that, and I'm gonna go blue and white. I'm gonna go over the top and tidy it up that way because it's just got the tiniest hint of green. So I'll just make up another blue and white. I think I just got gouache on my glasses. Oh, yay me, go me. And I'm just gonna tidy that spot up just by going over it like that. Because I've got it a bit rough looking. I messed it. So I'm tidying it up again. Just cut in a bit closer to that edge of that vase. Take it up here a little bit. And there we go. Okay, I'm quite liking it. I am quite liking it. I do need, I'm just having a quick look. Get me purpley colour that's still on my palette. I can re-wet that and use that again. And I've just got to add, this one's darker. Whoops, not quite so wet. Whoops, a days. Darken that petal there. Because if they're all one colour, it's going to look flat. So you've got petals off behind, you've got petals coming forward. That one's a little dark petal coming in there. So that's off sort of behind everything. I might pop a bit of white just here. Bit of a bright reflection. Bit there. there. And here I can see the light sort of hitting strongly. And onto there. Comes down onto this one. I've already got that. I've marked in a lot of the lights, to be honest. A bit there. Okay, this one has got quite a lot of light reflecting onto there, like that, onto the inside of that petal, those petals. Then onto this one, just add, oh, that's probably a bit thick. I'm just going to touch that off. Oh, that didn't work. I'll have to go over it. It doesn't work the same as gouache, as watercolour, I mean. So I'm just going to wet my brush, try and lift it a little bit, blend it. Because you can't really lift it, you sort of just got to take and knock it back a little bit, and I'll go back into that with the colour that I used, the base colour. I'll add a little bit of pink to that, a little bit of white to make it a bit pinker to that highlight bit. Nope, that's not going to work. I'll just go back in with a little bit of pure white just along that edge, like that. That one I've made, it is a mess. It is a mess. That one's just all over the place, like it really is. Just petals going in every direction. You can't really just define which is which bit and which one goes where. There is a highlight coming across the edge of that bit. Then the bottom of this bud sort of has got a light on it, and up to there. All right, there's a bit of a highlight there. We're getting into the finishing touches, guys. I think we're pretty much at the finishing end of it. All right, I don't want to overdo it. Now, have we got, I can't see any stamen, so I don't need to worry so much about that. I am gonna lighten this a little bit, just, whoops. This bud is going to give it a little bit of a directional thing, like that. Let's have a look. That one's darker in there, so I'll go my stronger colour. Which one was it? That one. It's darker in here, just in that shadow area just there, like that. Oops. All right, and I reckon that's just about it. I've got to do the back of the glass. I didn't do the back of the vase. Oh my God. Because you can't actually see it in my reference, but because I've left a gap, I'm literally just going to use white paint just to suggest, and go a bit of blue pigment, bit of blue underneath it, so it sort of suggests the lip of the vase, like that. So that just gives you the effect of the back of the glass. That flower needs a shadow under it. It does. So I'm going to go back into my shadow colour. There needs to be a shadow down about here, because that shadow, that would be reflecting down. Like that. Then blend that back. Can't forget your shadows, peeps. Shadows are really important to make things look right. And I do occasionally do my shadows in the wrong spots, because that's how I roll. Hello, Bear Bear. You just galloped up a million miles an hour. Okay, I think that is just about it, guys. So I hope you've enjoyed this. That was lots of fun. Okay, I'm going to brighten up that. Sorry, I haven't finished. I'm going to brighten up some more. It's going to go super bright white here. And then there. Like that. and a bit down this front edge. There, like that. And maybe a bit onto the tops of the stems so they're not so flat looking, because you do see the light. Bouncing off the stems a little bit. Not off these ones so much. Definitely off that one. Alright, now I'm done. So I'm going to sign that. Oh, I keep saying things that I need to do that I shouldn't. I just need to stop, but I keep saying things. I've just got to do the veiny bits on these ones. Take that up to there, like that. Alright, I'm leaving it. I'm leaving it. I'm going to sign it. I'm going to go in with, I might go in with just a nice big bright red, bright purple. Sign him down here, like that. And I am going to call that done. So I'm going to take my tape off and let's see how she looks without tape. Not really a whole lot different, just enough. Just enough to make it pretty. A little tiniest, teeniest little bit of contrast. So that is a gouache, another floral. So I've done a watercolor, I've done an acrylic, and now I've done a gouache. Think you're on your way to being an expert at painting flowers? Oh, you're a sweetheart, Dale. I would like to get good at them. I would love to get good at them. I love a nice floral painting. I love looking at them, like the detail that you can get. So I'm hoping the more I practice, the better I'll get. You know what I didn't do? He doesn't have a stem. Oh my God. Hang on, I haven't finished. Oops. Me bud doesn't have a stem. Oh yeah, he does. That's right, it's there. I've just got to darken up a little bit of it. That one. There it is. That's where that connects in. Whoops. Silly Billy. Okay, we're done. But yeah, I really enjoyed them, and I'm gonna try and do a whole lot more. I'm trying to vary my what's the word? My portfolio. I want to have, because I spent 30 years just doing animals, like solely pet portraits, wildlife portraits, animal portraits. That was it. So it's only been the last 5 years I've sort of ventured out and the last 1 year I ventured out, started doing different things. So properly, like seriously focusing on things. So like portraiture, human portraiture, flowers, still lifes. Sort of I'm going back and starting again, sort of teaching myself different things again. So yeah, it's awesome fun though, guys. So thank you for being here again. Thank you, Candid, for hanging out and chatting, and Shane for being here, Dale. And anyone who's popped in and out, you guys and girls are a world of awesomeness. It's Friday here, so it depends on what happens tomorrow, whether I might be back tomorrow. We'll see how the mop flops. But have an awesome day. Thank you so much for being here. You guys and girls are awesome. And yeah, I'll see you next video stream. Whatever I'm doing, wherever you are, I will see you when I'm looking at you. Okie doke. Bye, guys.